So the employee also takes a risk. So I'm not saying that the
Yeah,
employee
but
needs to
okay.
make I'm not saying the employee needs to make just as much as the business owner. But I'm saying the business owner doesn't need to make 180 times what the employee used to or makes. It should be like they're like a 10 times gap difference is better than a 150 times like wage difference, right? Like
I
isn't
don't
that
think it would. I don't think it would come down to 150 times. But more about my point when it comes to risk, though, is you as an employee choose to take your risk by working for this company. You choose to work there, whereas as the employer, I get to choose my employees and who's going to produce my product, and that's up to my discretion. But I also choose to take on a huge loan under my name. And if I lose this money because I didn't manage properly, I'm the one that takes all the blame. Whereas you as an employee, you can get hired. I can fall out of business because of my poor management. I can also fall out of business because I didn't hire the right employee that could do the things effectively.
that's true?
And now I'm however much money in the hole, and you can just go apply to the next job.
That is true. However, like we live in the United States, okay, and there are like kind of bankruptcies and like I don't know like all the specific like bankruptcies and like all that you can file, but there are ways to protect your assets in the United States so that you don't lose everything and that you basically can lose everything and start over in like 2 years basically. You know,
You can,
like,
but then you have a really shit credit score, and things are very, very difficult. If
well,
you file for
I'm
bankruptcy.
saying you can start over, as in like you could get a new credit score within 2 years to take out another loan to start another business.
Yeah, but imagine if you were in that situation in a different country, it wouldn't be like that.
Yeah, no,
Not a
it'd be a lot easier because they have public welfare systems, because everyone who actually makes a lot of money is okay with paying into their taxes because everyone is part of that economy. So they all contribute a good amount of money into the economy, so they have a good welfare system so that they don't have to take out loans to start a business. And not only that, a lot of these countries actually work many less hours than we do in the United States, because the average work week in the United States is, I believe, at 45 or 46 hours right now, while in like countries like Sweden, Switzerland, Norway, Denmark, they're around 26 to about 33 hours of a work week. So they have free time, they have welfare resources if they don't have a job to start a business if they wanted to, and they also, you know, have like the opportunity of education to pursue passionate careers that they would want to start a business in.
Okay. So we're taking the let's pick up each other approach throughout the economy versus
Exactly, because bro, there's an old saying, man, a rising tide raises all ships.
Do you ever look at someone and wonder what is going on inside their head?
A rising tide raises all ships, man. Like if
Then why is it though that a lot of people view it as America with all this opportunity and you can make it so well and so high, as this is like the epitome or like the perfect like country for us, or for in general, all these facts that you're saying, it's like it doesn't make sense. Why people want to come over here so badly?
I think it ultimately comes down to like corruption, propaganda, and like the way how the media like portrays the United States, because it's where their money is made. You know, like we literally allow lobbying in the United States. We allow corporations to pay off and influence our legislature to be in their favor.
Is that technically corrupt though, because it's within the jurisdiction of the law?
I mean, the law isn't always correct, bro. The law used to allow slavery.
No, yeah, that's very true.
That doesn't mean it's correct.
You could have very poorly designed laws,
do we think it's okay to allow corporations to influence legislature that they know is not in the favor of the people, but in favor of only the corporation?
Well, I feel like that also comes down to like corporate social responsibility, in the sense that you choose what companies you want to support. If you feel like a company is doing something unethical and they're pushing for unethical things, you don't have to go and buy their service. There's so many. That's like one of the great things is they don't enforce monopolies here. I think like the only service that you could consider as a monopoly is like energy providers like DTE and things like that, because that's so hard to have so many small like little businesses that are like energy providers.
Yeah.
But other than that, everything you can, if you don't like how a company does business, you don't have to purchase from them. You can make a company change their policies by making their pockets hurt.
That's true. And I mean, I'm one of those people, dude. Like, honestly, like when I find out like about like a business's like shady business practices, like I like straight up refuse to eat there. Like, have you ever seen The Founder?
No, I haven't.
No? Okay, it's the movie about McDonald's and Ray Kroc and how he like became the CEO of McDonald's. And he basically stole the company from like underneath like the McDonald's brothers' feet, dude. Like he straight up like stole their idea, like stole everything. Like, you know, I'm way oversimplifying it, but it's basically like it left such a bad taste in my mouth that I literally haven't eaten McDonald's in 6 months. And I used to go to McDonald's like pretty frequently just to get like $1 drink, you know? Like just to get like a Diet Coke, man. I love my Diet Coke. But yeah, dude, like, so it's like I totally get that perspective. And like I guess that is like one of the great freedoms of like America is we have that like freedom of choice of like who we get to like support and stuff. But it's hard to like say that we have like necessarily like, because freedom is so complex. It's like opportunity is one of those like most important things. And like and I feel like we kind of do have more monopolies than like you kind of like said like we think we do, because it's like 60% or 65% of all beverage products are owned by Coke and Pepsi.
Yeah, but that's not a monopoly. You have two companies now.
Okay, so it's an oligarchy.
Sure, but it's not a monopoly. You have the choice to not support one brand.
Okay, but the thing is like 65% of all brands are coming from underneath two companies, and the other companies I bet you can't even name.
I mean, yeah, but that just comes down to having a large name and having a platform, which I feel like this is like one of the things that I feel like why people feel America is like the greatest country is because you can be insanely good at what you do and provide it to like a lot of people, but your name's not going to get out there. You can even see it in the music industry. There's some artists like in the UK, like rap, for example, the UK rap scene that are actually insanely good and rap way better than a lot of the artists like you hear on the radio out here, and no one knows their name. They're way better lyrically. Some of their like music just even sounds better. But because of the fact that they're not in America and they don't have that platform to be all over everybody's face, you don't hear about them.
But I feel like that's also just due to kind of like American consumerism of like media. Like the United States is basically like a cesspool of like a bunch of nations, like kind of just coercing as one nation. So like everything we hear, like it's passed around very easily because we're part of one nation, you know? Whereas, like, I don't know. Yeah,
but wouldn't that make it easier for, like, people from foreign countries to, like, basically promote their music? And now it gets around to my friends, like, oh, have you heard about so-and-so artists from Spain or so-and-so artists from, you know, China or something like that?
The thing is there's a lot of, like, music artists who just come from, like, those countries to the United States because that's really where they make their money, is, like, the thing. And like
yeah, so wouldn't that also mean that like the opportunity here is greater?
But I think
that exposure.
The thing is that I was gonna say is that like it's only like one certain media or one certain like genre that like you're really talking about. You know, you're talking about music artists and like Hollywood and stuff, and that produces a ton of money. Like yes, but it's like it's such a small number of people that like that doesn't like have to or like justify the overall standing of a country's greatness.
What about the medical industry?
What about the medical industry?
Here, the medical industry makes so much money. Why is it also like considered one of the best like healthcare systems in the world supposedly?
It's not considered one of the best. Where?
But it's thought to be. It's thought. That's what I'm saying. The public perception is that it is.
No, it's not. I don't know anyone who thinks the American healthcare system is like good.
You can get I'm talking about the service itself. I'm not talking about the insurances.
I'm not even, dude, because I live in California. So in California, dude, there's so many people who go to Mexico to get their surgeries done just because it's cheaper and it's the same shit.
No. They go down there because it's cheaper, but it's not necessarily the same shit.
But we're talking about public perception, is what you said.
Yeah.
You said we're talking about the public perception, and I'm saying, in Southern California, almost everyone I know who needs like a major surgery that isn't covered by their insurance goes to Mexico to get that shit done.
Okay.
Like dental work, like cosmetic surgery, like anything that their insurance like isn't like, okay, only pay $500 and you'll be fine. Like anything that's not that, they're going to Mexico. Because they're like, fuck that. We're not going to pay these high prices here. The United States only pays the most in healthcare per GDP. That doesn't mean like they're putting that money like into it. It's just because of the high prices here. I mean, the prices for healthcare here are almost 3 to 4 times as much as they are in competing countries like Switzerland, Denmark, Germany.
But then why are American doctors more valued then? That's the perception though. A lot of people they value your doctor from the US, pharmaceutical more
because
if you go to another country.
Because the pharmaceutical companies being able to influence Congress to impact the wages.
No. I'm talking about if I get my medical degree from the United States. And I go back to another country back in wherever in Europe or in the Middle East or in China or Asia. I am inherently more valued than somebody that went to medical school in their local country.
Because they assume you made more money here. Because the American dollar is worth more, and they assume you practice there. This is my assumption. Why would you become a doctor there and then immediately fly back? Everyone who like usually immigrates to the United States is there to make their money first and then send it back to their families in those foreign countries because the dollar value is worth more in those countries. So they immediately
That's not necessarily true. Kuwait, for example.
Based off of my personal experiences and families that I know who have immigrated here, like that is exactly what they do. Like
Kuwait's I'm going to say for example, Kuwait's dollars is the most expensive currency in the world. I think it's like 3 times more expensive than the US dollar. Okay. And there's a lot of people that literally come here from there for their education and go back because they just prefer living over there. There's nothing. It has not. And
okay, but do you know the median income for like the kind of like job that they would be getting out there, like with the education they got there? Is it comparable to the United States? Are the living conditions comparable that it would make it worth it traveling back immediately?
It's not for them. It's not even the conditions. It's literally they just prefer living in that country. So, but they come to the United States specifically because they will get paid more if they have an American degree, or they got their education in America.
Okay, now is it necessarily that they got their education in America, or is it that they got it from that specific university? Because the thing is,
even in America in general.
What if they went to Oxford?
I mean, okay, you're using the very niche example of like the top colleges that are like in the world. I'm talking like imagine you just went to like a regular college in Europe versus like a regular college out in America. You'll still get paid more in those countries. Like I'm not even saying like you just come to the U.S. and you go to Harvard.
Yeah.
I'm saying or
like you go to Cal State
UCLA
Fullerton or something. Like
yeah, you just go to like not necessarily a local college, but a good university. You know, not something
like Cal State Fullerton or you know
middle of the state, middle of the pack.
Sacramento.
You still get paid more.
What's it called? Humboldt. I don't know. Those are California colleges. I just know. But the thing is like no matter what, the standard of living is higher in the United States. Even living in shitty Southern California with like a 1-bedroom apartment is still considered being in the top 1% of the world than living in like most like other like underdeveloped countries.
Yeah, but do you know how they consider the 1% of the world too? Is they take the dollar as the main currency and compare the value of how much money you make to the dollar, and then you use that percentage of how much money you make, and not necessarily how much money you make in the US is comparable to how much you'll need to live in different countries across the world. So you might you might be richer by US standards than a lot of other people, but you can live in a lot of other countries for a lot cheaper. and have a basically same doing the same stuff like you would do here.
Yeah, I mean, you're right about that. I'm just yeah, I mean, you're right, dude. Like, the United States doesn't have a great standard of living. Like, you know, like, in terms of, like, the amount of income most people are going to be, like, pulling in. And
when you look at it, like, in, like, what states are actually the nice places of the United States that people, like, tend to think of when they come?
California, New York,
Florida, Texas, maybe.
I don't know, Florida, man. Like, Florida's...
Miami.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, you know, Florida's nice in terms of, like, it's expensive, like, you know, but it's like, you know, it's Florida, dude.
I mean, yeah, there's like crazy stuff that happens over
there's
there,
the memes, bro. We know what Florida's all about.